We welcome you back in. Officially declared candidates have to submit their campaign finance reports to the
It's probably a good idea.
local elections committees and federal elections committee as well. We follow campaign finance reports. It's something we call money bombs in our war chest report. And we'll start this segment with billionaire and founder of the software giant Oracle. Larry Ellison has a new goal. He wants to get Florida Senator Marco Rubio elected to the White House. Ellison will hold fundraisers for Rubio at his California estate. The cost to attend one of these fundraisers? Only $2,700 a head. You'll get a photo op with Rubio with your ticket of entry.
All righty. Republican presidential candidate Ben Carson has tapped his grassroots supporters for donations. Since establishing his exploratory committee back in March, he's pulled in $6 million in donations, each one averaging out at about $50. Dr. Carson says he's confident that he can raise more than $50 million for his campaign.
Should be enough to influence the conversation. We'll see if it's...
He was going to raise, man, Rubio doesn't have such a bad idea. Maybe I'll start having some fancy dinners in California.
$2.5 billion, they say, this election cycle. $6 million, just a tip of that.
Yeah, well, a couple of election legal experts are now accusing, have you heard this, Jeb Bush of violating campaign finance laws. Jeb has not announced, as you may know, his run for the presidency, and that has allowed him, well, you can't count the slip of the tongue, John, that has allowed him, though, to continue coordination with his Right to Rise super PAC. So Cleta Mitchell, a political law attorney at Foley and Lardner, told Breitbart News these are her exact words. I have to tell you, I've looked at this thing that Jeb Bush has created, and I don't know how in the world that's legal. I understand the theory of it, but I don't know how that works in real life.
I'm not exactly sure either. You know, Cleta Mitchell is a good friend of Newsmax. She's one of the sharpest minds when it comes to this type of stuff. And if she is saying this, and again, it goes back, it was, of course, a slip of the tongue, what Jeb Bush said, but everybody knows that's what he's doing. And that the cat is out of the bag. It just seems a little bit, I don't know if the word is disingenuous, but for him not to announce his candidacy when you got 3 new people jumping in the race today or very soon here, potentially, I don't know.
When do you think he'll actually do it?
Whenever it serves his interests best. I think that's when he's going to do it. He's got to raise money in this kind of way, and I think he wants to keep his eye and be able to coordinate with his super PAC. Once he becomes a declared candidate, he can no longer coordinate directly with his super PAC, and
he's got to polish up on this slippage.
On the slippage,
on the slippage, that's what I'm calling it.
Well, the oil industry, let's talk about them now and how they're going to play out this campaign cycle. The oil industry may be funding a couple of presidential campaigns. Separately, The Guardian reported that subsidies given by states to the oil industry are getting kicked back to candidates. ExxonMobil will get $119 million in subsidies from Louisiana to upgrade its Baton Rouge refinery, as Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal has received over $1 million from oil and gas companies. So there you go. Ohio's John Kasich also received over $200,000 as Marathon Petroleum was awarded $78 million in subsidies. Republican Congressman Frank Guinta vowed to stay in office Monday, this after the FEC ruled that he accepted $355,000 in illegal campaign donations from his parents during the 2010 election cycle. New Hampshire's highest-ranking Republican Senator Kelly Ayotte has called for Guinta to resign. As of now, he says he has no plans to step aside.
Really? And how long do you think it's going to be before he actually changes his mind?
I don't know.
Do you think he's going to be stubborn on this?
I think he'll be as stubborn as his supporters will allow him to be. You know, when you are in these situations and everybody is telling you, stick in there, fight this out.
I'm always surprised how long people hold out. When it's like all right out there in the open. I don't know. I just don't get it.
We'll see. Keep you posted on our next Money Bombs and War Chest report coming up. Retired CIA officer Gary Bernstein telling Newsmax that Iraqi forces abandoned their posts in Ramadi. Gary
Bernstein on the Steve Malzberg Show. Take a listen to what he had to say.
The loss of Ramadi last week was striking. ISIS used, vehicle-borne improvised explosive devices at several key locations, which frightened the Iraqi forces, and they fled the city. The Iraqi forces were at least 5 times the size of the ISIS people that were attacking them, and they abandoned their posts and they fled, which was just shameful and disgraceful. And finally, a State Department spokesman made it clear, and Ashton Carter actually came out and stated that the Iraqis had lacked the will to fight. And it took 7 years here, but we've actually had several spokespersons from the White House actually make an honest statement.
You know, we've looked back at these other cases, Mosul, the battle to retake Mosul. We had the Yazidis who were stranded atop Mount Sinjar. We can also take a look at Kobani, that city right there on the border with Turkey and Syria. These are the major battles of another installment of the Iraq War.
And I wonder, though, how much the American people care about that. I think their main concern is probably ISIS, and will that battle soon come here?
I think the concern with a lot of Americans is our national security.
Or the idea of having more boots on the ground.
And whether or not greater U.S. involvement in that region is going to do anything to help us be more secure here in the homeland. And an issue we'll continue to talk about. More Newsmax Now coming up after this.